I'm Bill with C&D Associates in Buchanan, Michigan, and once again we're here to talk about heaters. And today we're going to be setting the spark plug gap on a Janitrol heater. To start off with, we need to talk about the basic tools you need. You probably have already received your replacement spark plug, a 39D18 or the CD22050, which is our PMA replacement. You'll also need a notepad, a pen, a set of calipers, a pair of needle nose pliers, a pair of channel locks, a 3/8 inch boxed end wrench, a 3/4 inch open end wrench, and then a 7/8 deep well socket. Other things that we're going to be using is metallic anti-lock or anti-seize and silicone compound or dielectric sealant. So to start off, we're going to look at our Janitrol heater here, what it takes to remove the spark plug. First tools we'll need is the channel locks and the 3/4 inch open end wrench. Typically I'll grab the base of a spark plug that's been in there for quite a while and loosen the nut that holds the lead down. Remove the lead from the igniter. When you do this, also is a good time to check for condition of your ignition lead. Looking at the ceramic, make sure it's not chipped or cracked. Make sure the rubber and the silicone line, lead line, are not dry and brittle but soft and supple. And if anything in there needs to be replaced, then this is the time to do it. Make sure that the ignition unit is in good shape. Next thing we'll do is we're going to remove the gasket around the igniter with your pair of pliers. Then we're going to use our 7/8 deep well socket to remove the spark plug. When you pull the plug out, be very careful to make sure the washer doesn't get lost. If it does, the new spark plug should come with a washer, but to avoid having it slide down in between the jacket and the tube. Now that we have the spark plug out, we're going to go ahead and talk about setting the spark gap. So to do that, we're going to use our little test fixture here to show you what it takes to set a spark gap. Now, just so you know, in relation to how the heater is sitting right now, here's your combustion air inlet. This is this portion. Here's the spark plug that we just removed. This is a typical boss that would sit down inside the combustion tube. So this also has the spark plug removed. Inside of the heater, we have our mixer chamber, which has the nozzle where the nozzle makes contact with the spark. On the Janitrol heaters, they have an 1/8 inch ground electrode sitting about 48 degrees from where the spark plug enters into the head unit of the combustion chamber. This is the gap that we're going to be setting between this seat here of the spark plug boss and the tip of that ground electrode. So to do this, the first thing I like to do is start with my new spark plug and get the overall length of the spark plug, including the washer. So I'll use my calipers. And you notice my calipers are notched out particularly for setting gaps so that it clears the tower of the spark plug. But you'll bring this caliper down, set it against the washer seat, nice and firm, and then drop it down to sit firmly on the top of the ground electrode. And we're going to record that gap. So that gap is 1.8 really, 1.8. So we're going to record that number, 1.8. Now with that in mind, we know that our spark plug gap on the Janitrol heater needs to be between 0.156 and 0.188. So we're going to take the middle number, we're just going to say our gap needs to be 0.175. So to get our proper gap, we're going to add 0.175 to our 1.8 inch long spark plug. So our proper gap in this situation would be 1.975. So if we get close to that, we know that we're going to get a proper gap. So again, you use your calipers. You bring the probe end down, the depth gauge side down. First thing you want to do is go inside and kind of feel around for the top of the electrode. Now sometimes these electrodes are in pretty rough shape. The tip might have eroded away quite a ways. If that's the case, you probably are due for an overhaul, but if the ground electrode seems to be in good shape, go in And you might have to feel around for the top of that ground electrode. Once you find the top, hold your calipers there and bottom out your calipers and check the gap that you have existing. So in this case we have 1.855. So 1.855. So we're pretty close on our gap, but we're going to open it up just a little bit more so we have a nice median gap. To open the gap up, we're going to use our 3/8 inch boxed in side of our wrench. We're going to go in through the spark plug hole and we're going to loop around the ground electrode. And to increase the gap, we're going to want to push away. Now we don't want to just push on it, we want to kind of bounce the electrode over. If you wanted to decrease the gap, of course, you're going to pull on it, but again, just bounce the electrode, don't just pull on it. So again, we're going for a gap of 1.975, so we're going to check our gap again. Our gap is still small, 1.870. So we're going to bounce again. Sometimes this takes a few times. Go in, find your ground electrode. Bring your caliper down until it seats. So now we're at 0.1950, 155. So that's a really close gap. So we're going to go with that. We're between the 156 and the 188. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put our spark plug into our heater. To do that, we want to use our anti-seize and brush just a small amount onto the threads of the spark plug. Make sure we don't get any on the ceramic so it doesn't arc back. And if you have dielectric available, go ahead and we'll push a little bit of dielectric into the base of the plug. The other thing we may want to do at this time is lightly squeeze on the washer of the spark plug so that it just gets tight enough where it can't go past the threads of the spark plug. That way you'll stop losing spark plug washers inside of the heater. Take our igniter plug, stick it back into the heater again, make real sure that you're not hitting the ceramic on anything so it's damaging the ceramic. Tighten the spark plug up, 25 foot-pounds of torque. Reinstall our grommet. If the grommet's in bad shape, I recommend that you replace the grommet at that time. Then we're going to reinstall our lead. Again, make sure that the condition of the lead is in good shape. Thread the nut back on. And we're going to tighten that up to approximately 20 foot-pounds of torque. And there you have it, the proper removal and reinstallation and gap set of a Janitrol spark plug.